Hello everybody, welcome to the Celeb Scope channel. Did you all know that Janet Jackson tried to avoid P. Diddy like a plague because she did not trust him? And for good reason. Now, I'm sure you all have seen P. Diddy's docu-series on Netflix called Sean Combs The Reckoning. That docu-series was wild, and it was interesting how they went into detail about his alleged involvement in Tupac and Biggie's deaths. In fact, it was said that P. Diddy was jealous of Tupac. He was also threatened by Pac's friendship with his artist Biggie Smalls. And Tupac always believed that Diddy orchestrated him getting ambushed and shot up at the Quad Studios that night where he was coincidentally about to meet up with Biggie.
So, do you think Puffy was involved in the shooting?
Only they can answer that question. I believe so. I do believe so. I have proved things that I can say that will back up my claim.
Tupac getting shot was the catalyst to his infamous feud with Diddy and Biggie, which really intensified when they dropped diss tracks against each other. And Tupac signed with Suge Knight at Death Row Records. And it really started this whole East Coast, West Coast beef. And Diddy hired Crips to basically take out Tupac and Suge. Like he allegedly put $1 million bounty on their head. And Tupac did end up getting gunned down and killed by some Crips. And 6 months later, Biggie Smalls was killed. And the only reason why Biggie was killed is because Diddy forced him to go to the West Coast knowing how dangerous it was. So essentially, Diddy led Biggie to his own death. But he put on this big show like he was so sad. He put on this huge funeral for him, which he allegedly had Biggie pay for. He also did a whole tribute to him at the MTV Awards, just shucking and jing. He was just doing a lot. And Janet Jackson wasn't buying any of it.
Good. Well, what do you think about the fact that Puffy Combs seems to have merged from all of this murder as the producer of the day? Puff Daddy seems to have become the record producer of the day.
Yeah, it seems like he has a new video every week.
Yeah, and you just kind of wonder because, I mean, he's like, one of the ones left after all of this murder that's gone on in the gangster rap community.
You know, sometimes I wonder. I was very cynical in the beginning, I must say. I would sit back and say, okay, how much pain is he really in? It seems like he's taken this and ran with it. Like the death of Biggie. And there's a part of me that wondered if it was really real. You know what I mean?
Because the videos seem to come out so quick. And
yeah, and it's like he's throwing them out one after the other. Being the sort of cynic that I can be, I wondered, and I'm sure like a lot of other people have wondered, and only he knows that, and God within his own heart. You know what I mean? I hope it is real, and not using that to elevate himself.
Well, Diddy did use Biggie's death to elevate himself. He destiny swapped with him. Basically, after Biggie's death, he went from being in the background to being in the forefront. And he was working with everybody. Everybody wanted to work with him except Janet Jackson.
So every interview, Janet Jackson, Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis need to get up off a track. Throw a brother a track or something. No, I won't get in the studio with Janet. But I mentioned her name, and she didn't want to work with me. She ain't want none of the hits. So I got to move on.
Yeah. Not that he's begging, but I do hear he keeps, and he has asked me a few times. I don't know if it ever will happen. I'm probably the only one who hasn't worked with him now.
It was just a dream, a fantasy for me to one day work with Janet Jackson. Now I don't want to do it.
Now, one thing about Diddy is he's very persistent. He did not give up on trying to be around Janet Jackson in some way. He did eventually work with her on the remix to her song Son of a Gun. And they did rub shoulders in the industry a few times, but Janet still limited his access to her.
Touch with Janet?
Oh, no.
No.
No, but I know her.
Right.
I just never got a number for us to keep in touch.
Got it.
When Cassie's lawsuit against Diddy hit the news, Janet Jackson quickly deleted her photo she had with Diddy to show where she stood. Now, moving on, I want to talk about some updates in the Love Island world. The Love Island USA Season 7, Shelly and Ace Green, announced their split. Is this a surprise? No, it's not a surprise because I'm going to tell you this. A lot of these reality TV couples are not meant to last. And a good portion of them are fake, too. A lot of them, especially on Love Island, we know that these couples get together because of the opportunities, the brand deals, and just the overall popularity they can get from being in a relationship. But it's very rare to find a couple that will actually stick it out. I mean, not everybody can be Serena and Cordell, okay? So, yeah, I'm not surprised to hear that Shelly and Ace split up. I did like them together. They were a cute couple, and it seemed like they had natural chemistry, but that wasn't going to be enough for them to stay together, especially since it didn't seem like they were truly invested. And in this particular situation, I kind of feel like Shelly and Ace are in two different stages in their lives. Ace is younger. He is like 22, 23. So, he still is kind of coming into his own. I don't think he's ready to settle down just yet. And Shelly is 28. So, I think that if she was looking for something more serious, it wouldn't be with somebody like Ace. And also, I think that they're going their separate ways because they probably realize they don't need to be in a relationship to build their brands. So, they just called it quits. And it is what it is.
Ace and I actually decided to part ways.
Wait,
Yes.
oh my God, did you announce that?
No.
Oh my God, Shelly, I'm sorry.
No, don't, it's okay. And please don't. It's okay.
How are you feeling?
I mean, it really was a tough decision, for the both of us, and very hard to decide. But when you love someone, sometimes loving someone means letting go. So I think we just got to that decision.
And also getting to a point where, because you both have love for each other, to end it before that ends. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So it came from like a mutual level of respect.
A mutual level of respect and understanding that we wanted this to work, but sometimes things don't work. Couples go through things that are very challenging, and sometimes the best thing to do is just make a decision that needs to be made. So.
And I have to imagine too, it must have been hard for you guys to come to this conclusion when there's a lot of eyes on you and a lot of people being like, we love you guys together,
exactly.
And you're like, okay, but we're going through, we're trying to be ourselves and the best that we can be.
Exactly.
How were the conversations you both had with that?
We had a lot of conversation, and at the end of the day, it was just like a mutual agreement of what, this is for the best. And I've definitely thought about our supporters, our fans and stuff, but I'll trust that they'll understand that, this decision needed to be made if we were able to come to this mutual decision.
Right.
So
obviously you want to keep some things private and to yourself,
absolutely,
but for the fans who are hoping for a definitive answer of why did they break up? What would you say? What's kind of the main reason?
Listen, a lot happens in relationships, and I just feel like people can understand that, I think out of respect for the both of us, the details aren't really necessary,
right.
I think we can be peaceful and just understand that, we're good with being able to be on the same page. Our relationship from the very beginning was an understanding of our relationship isn't for the press, for the media or anything. It's because I truly love you and you truly love me. But, challenges happen in relationships, and sometimes, like I said, you want to just be able to say, you know what, let's leave it right here before it turns into something never needs to be. We can leave off on light and love.
Right.
We're put on this earth to experience people, so who knows how long that experience could last. Sometimes we want it to last a lifetime, and sometimes it's just it's for that moment in time, so it's I'm very grateful nonetheless. And at the end of the day, I wish Ace the best.
Yeah.
And for myself, I'm okay, I just have to focus, healing, growth.
You're I wish the best for myself,
what's next? Yeah, I truly do, so that's...
Shell is not saying the reason why they split up. I would like to know the reason why. I don't know if there was any cheating involved. I don't know what happened. We will find out sooner or later, but I'm just going to assume that maybe they just didn't feel like forcing it anymore just to stay together for the fans. Now, I will say it is very interesting to see how things turned out because Ace was saying how some other couples in the villa were fake. He alluded to Nick being a PR couple, which if that is the case, then that's their business. At least they're on one accord about what the situation is. But yeah, Ace was out here putting their situation on blast. And when he did that, he got a lot of backlash. And he actually caused Shelly to get a lot of backlash. And I think it also affected Shell's friendship with Alandria too. So, Ace doing that interview and calling another couple fake didn't do them any favors, and look at what happened. He and Shelly didn't even make it past 6 months. And they were supposed to be one of the genuine couples. And I think they did genuinely like each other. But like I said, these couples aren't meant to last. You don't go on Love Island to find the love of your life. You go on there to get clout. That is it. Okay. And so I could see Shelly moving up in her solo career. She might end up getting with somebody of a higher caliber. I could definitely see that for her. Ace is going to do his own thing and be free and single. And that's it. That is the end of the experiment, at least for now, because for all we know, these two might spin the block and come back together for some more publicity.